child is 23 now, and she's the only one that checks on me. She called me a few minutes ago and said, "Did you get to Naples all right?" And I said, "Yeah, baby. Thank you for asking. Tell your daddy." Okay, y'all. My baby, my middle one, I buy Soma now. Soma, big old panties, honey. The bigger the better. I used to wear Victoria's Secret when I still had hope. And then I found out, y'all know who owns Victoria's Secret? Satan. And no, he doesn't. I had to stop wearing them because they were cutting me in two. But Lord, they're probably about to go out of business. But anyway, everybody is. But I love a big panty. Okay. My baby child is 22 now. She lives in New York and goes to school up there, and we miss her, and she's been a doll baby. And her daddy and I, we begged her to go to Phoenix Online, and she was like, "Get out of my butthole." So y'all just stare at me, and she smells good. But anyway, my husband is 6'4", 230 pounds. 250 if he's eating white flour and sugar. He plays a lot of tennis, and it got on my nerves so bad because I had no estrogen, no progesterone, no testosterone, and I was crazy. Okay, his testosterone dipped a little. Praise God. And then it went back up when he started playing tennis again, and that makes it naturally go up. It made me so mad. Anyway, we wanted these children to be in sports, keep them off of dope. And my baby child, all my children are tall kids. Okay. Well, my baby child grew really quick, really fast, and was 5'6" in elementary school. And I think it was my fault. I think it was all that chicken. I think if anybody's in here my age, we didn't know about hormone-free back then. No, I know. All that milk, it had stuff in it. Lord, I've raised her on a bunch of chicken and milk. Anyway, I would not do that to a grandbaby now. Okay, so she was very tall, very self-conscious, and she was taller than all the... Get out. He drives a 2007 Tahoe, and the T and the A are missing. And if I was home tomorrow, we would be pulling up in that big Tahoe to the Baptist church in the doorway. And when church is over, my husband wants out of there and doesn't want to talk to anybody. And see, that's my time to fellowship. And he drives that big old Tahoe up to the front door of the Baptist church and goes. And he always says, "You're the last one in the parking lot." I said, "There's going to be a lot of people at my funeral." I've built relationships with people. He goes, "Okay, fine. I'll have to have mine in a yogurt shop." She's called me today and said, "Mom, are you okay? How did your show go last night?" And I go, "Good." So the day before, she goes, "Did you make it to Huntsville?" I said, "Yes, baby. Thank you. Tell your daddy." Curtis, he was so in love with me, honey. Stalked me, bought me presents, did all that. We will be married 29 years. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I truly believe that he would not pull me out of a burning vehicle. Okay, here's something that's different. Now that they're having little children, so different than when I had mine. There was a book that I read in and out, and I bet a bunch of y'all that are my age read this one too. What to expect when you're expecting. Yeah, it was a hateful book. It was a hateful book, but it was true. And they would say things to you like, "You're going to have a hemorrhoid in the 7th month on the 4th day." At 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And you'll be like, it's 2 o'clock. Back then, everybody was terrified about food allergies, and that was a big thing that they stressed, and our pediatricians. And I remember having this whole big chart in my kitchen on the wall that told me, my boy, I wouldn't let him have sweet potatoes until August after I had cleared the squash in July. That just crazy. And I did perfect with him. The second one came along, did okay with her, really did. That third one came along. We were at the McDonald's. I had two playing one in the balls and one up in a tube. And that my baby child did not have any teeth yet. She was in a high chair, and I threw a cheeseburger onto her high chair, and she gummed it down. And a woman came over the intercom and said, "Excuse me, ma'am, but your baby has pooped in the tube." So then I would have to go up in the tube, get my baby, pull my baby down through the tube. Do y'all remember playing in the balls? My children loved the balls. And Lord, we had a ball going. Me and my friends would go to anywhere that they had a bunch of balls and tubes, and little children would be playing in a dirty diaper and swim by on top of the balls. And then like a chicken nugget. Going through. You think about all this with COVID. There's no way they'd let any of that happen. Good night. You think of Chuck E. Cheese? That was a free-for-all. Mine loved it. Okay. Let me tell y'all this. Baby food has changed, and I didn't know this. When I was having my babies, you had little baby food jars. They've still got maybe 2 of those on the grocery store thing. Now it's in pouches. Everything's in pouches, and I don't think they're worried about food allergies. My grandbaby had a pouch that had turmeric, cashews, and squash in it, all squished together. And now they don't feed babies with spoons. They just squirt that pouch in their mouth. Everything's on the go. They just squirt and go, squirt and go. And I'm worried about it. I really am. I think there's going to be a whole generation that doesn't know how to use utensils. Okay, the 5 love languages. All right. Me and Chuck Morgan in Sunday school class went on a retreat, and they talked to us about the 5 love languages. And it's written by little Gary Chapman, who is a doll and tiny and does, that man's probably getting in his 90s, and he does sit-ups every day. And that little thing, and I got to meet him later. He was a doll. But anyway, the 5 love languages. If you don't know about that, you've got to get it. There was a 5 love languages for your marriage, and then there's one for your children. And you need to get that. Everybody's got a love language. And you take the test. You got to read the book and take the test. Well, you don't read the book. I didn't. But you can take the test. I like to read books about Hollywood murder. So, anyway, you take the test, and then and your husband takes the test, and you find out what his love language is, and he finds out what your love language is. And if you find that out, then you can feed them their love language. And then, so I can feed Chuck Morgan his love language, and then his love tank fills full. If I don't, he could go to work and be at a water fountain, and some whore comes up to him and starts feeding him his love language, and then he feels a tingle. And then Satan swoops in. So these are the 5 love languages. Quality time. If you may know somebody that just wants you to sit on the couch and watch ESPN with them. Something like that. Then there's gifts. That's my sister's love language. It doesn't have to be something expensive. Just so you thought of her, if you buy her a card and a rose from the grocery store, she'll bawl her eyes out. And then there's words of affirmation. That's mine. But physical touch. Physical touch, which I know every woman in here is like, that's my husband. Physical touch, but it's not that kind of physical touch. We're talking about the physical, when people that just want to hug you and squeeze on you and all that all the time. That's their love language, is physical touch. But women think, that's my husband's and he's on me like a duck on a June bug. But that's not the... All right, and then there's words of affirmation. That's mine. So all Chuck Morgan has to do is say, you look beautiful tonight. You are a good mama. That Trisha Yearwood's chicken piccata is to die for. And then my love tank feels full, and then I'm willing to do something vulgar with him. And then he gives me money to get my hair highlighted. See? It works out, It's God's way. And then my husband's is acts of service. So for him to feel loved, I have to go in the garage and build a set of shelves. Let me tell you about my family. I have my husband. We live in Knoxville, Tennessee. I have my husband. Thank you. Well, I have my husband and my 3 grown children. I have a 25-year-old boy that's married to a darling little girl. And then I have my 22-year-old daughter and then my 20-year-old daughter, and she's still in Knoxville with us. And so these children grew up and left me with their daddy. And he is so not fun. And so he doesn't chat. And so I'm just at home talking to myself. And we've got 2 beagles. And we miss these children so bad that we just sit and kiss them in the mouth. So I'm trying to adjust to just being with their daddy. And so I bought him tickets to go see Def Leppard and Journey. Okay, let me tell you, have y'all been to concerts lately with old people that are older than I am? Okay, we went and I thought, we're going to have a fun date. And I said, where are we going to go out to eat? And he goes, I don't have time for that. It was on a weeknight. So he went to the Pilot and bought himself a tall boy. And I think that's what it's called, and an egg salad sandwich from the Pilot. And so I didn't get to eat, and I was so hungry. And it dawned on me at a concert, when I was 20 and I'd go to a concert. I was at University of Tennessee, and so I'd go to Thompson Bowling. And I'd wear a crop top. And I didn't care about eating. I wasn't hungry, I was thinking what boys were going to be there, and I had on little bitty breeches because I still had a metabolism and my thyroid was acting right. Okay. So we go to Def Leppard and Journey, and everybody there is our age. And everybody's worried about the snack bar, first of all. And I was too. And I was so hungry. And I noticed that people had big Diet Cokes, like big buckets of Diet Coke, and were sucking on those big buckets of Diet Coke while the concert was going on. And every once in a while, somebody would stand up and... And then they'd sit back down. Journey Journey has a little bitty feller from another country singing for them, and he's yummy. He looks like a little M&M. You could put him in your pocket. And you could tell he doesn't eat white flour and sugar. And he's singing and doing, he sounds like Steve Perry, but it's not the same. You know, Steve Perry's my boo. So it was like we were going to a tribute concert. But anyway, everybody in the band, besides this little fella, everybody had eaten white flour and sugar, probably had done dope and drank terrible things, and everybody looked sick, and the bass player looked like somebody I had bought my jewelry from for years, and they were just barely a-going. And then Def Leppard came out, and it was that lead singer, I think, has got thyroid issues. His hair was just thin and didn't have a lux to it, and then I noticed he had little bitty tiny legs and a little pot belly stomach, but he sang "Put Some Sugar on It," which I hate that mess. I am a Earth, Wind and Fire R&B gal, and I love my Journey, but I was like, this isn't my thing. And my husband every once in a while would go and then just sit down because he loves it. But anyway, this little man with the tiny little legs and the thinning hair, and then he had this little bump right here, and I could tell that's a hernia. He's got a hernia. And I bet that he hadn't had time to get it fixed. He hadn't had time to put a mesh in. And you could just see it. It looks like my stomach because I've had a hernia, but I've had mine fixed. And I thought, oh, bless his heart. But he'd do, and he'd prop a little thin, frail leg up on something. Oh, I thought, isn't it funny how things have changed since I went to concerts when I was 20? Everybody was walking out like this because everybody had inflammation in their feet. Trying to get to their car. And it was like 10 o'clock. I thought, what are we doing out here? What are we doing? We gotta get home. We gotta get in the bed. I've had 3 beautiful children that I'm in love with. I have a son who is 14 years old now. I cannot believe it. Thank you. And I have 2 little girls that are 11 and 9. And my baby child is in 4th grade now. I cannot believe it. When she went to kindergarten a few years back, that was going to be the first time that I was going to be by myself all day long from 8 to 3, all by myself. I nearly grieved myself to death. I thought, Lord, what am I going to do with all this time on my hands? I hope I don't get hooked on whiskey and start honky-tonking. About 3 weeks into kindergarten, I was like, it's your birthday, Now I ain't gonna get a pap smear without somebody sitting on my head. I'll never forget the day that I found out about her, and I feel terrible about it now. But I was overwhelmed. I knew something wasn't right. I didn't feel good. I thought, oh my gosh, surely I'm not pregnant this quick, this soon. And you know when you got to know something, you got to know it right then. I had to know right then. I grabbed up my 2 babies and diaper bag and all that stuff you take with you everywhere you go, and I went to the Walmart in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. And I bought an EPT pregnancy test, and I took it in the stall at Walmart. And I tinkled on it. And my 3-year-old boy looked at me, he said, "What, is it positive?" And it was. So I drove home just as fast as I could, and I called my husband at work. And I said, you're trying to kill me, aren't you? With a slow vaginal death. Is that what you're trying to? Well, you're not going to. You better get home right now, because I'm going to walk out in the woods and let the animals eat me. But let me explain to y'all why I was so torn up. I had a 13-month-old baby girl in diapers and a 3-year-old little boy in Superman panties with doo-doo balls falling out. At the grocery store. I thought, oh my Lord, did anybody see that? I don't have anything in my purse to pick it up with. Is some little child gonna think it's a milk dud? Let's just keep on moving, everybody. Just keep on moving. But God knew better than I did, because she's been a doll baby, but she's ruined. And I know I'm the one who did it. I was tired and beat down. So, anybody here who has more than 2, you know, good night by that 3rd and 4th one, you got to let them do what they got to do, you know. She still cries over anything. She cries because she knows she gets her way. I said, what's she crying about? She wants your toy. Well, just give it to her. I can't deal with it. But she's a quirky little thing and fun. She is. She enjoys office work. And for Santa Claus this past Christmas, she wanted a filing cabinet. And that's what she wanted. And she likes, you know, big tape dispensers and all that kind of stuff. And in our house, she has offices set up all over our house. And she's always talked to herself. And we like to sneak and watch her, because she'll be doing office work. And she has her little Barbie phone and cell phones and old cordless phones, and she'll be calling people up and chewing them out over the phone. She says, well, if you can't get this order in, I'm taking my business elsewhere. She says she wants to work for Geico when she gets older. For her 8th birthday, you know how mamas will call you and say, what's she into? What can I get her? And I said, well, she needs office supplies. My oldest daughter has turned 11, and she's in 6th grade in middle school. And I can tell that puberty is beginning with her. She's crazy. And she's mean as a snake. And we're scared to death of her, but we just tiptoe around her. She cries a lot, and she doesn't know why, and she tells us, I don't know why I'm crying. And we just try to get through it. But I'm telling you, she can run a household. She's a grown woman. She has been ever since she got here. So I said, you're going to have to come in here, baby. I said, your daddy's going to take care of y'all. I'm going to Nashville for like 3 days. She bust out crying. I said, what's wrong? She said, don't leave us with him. He doesn't know where the food is. I said, well, that's why you're in charge. And she is. God love her. But my girls are emotional, and I don't mean to talk about them because I love them, and I know they'll visit me in the nursing home. But they are lunatics. My husband says they're psycho, and they need therapy. And I'll give you all an example. I can be in the pickup line at school, and this has happened when they were in 1st grade, and it happens every day when I pick them up at school now. I'm sitting in the pickup line, and I can see them come out, and they are in a good mood. And they're goosing each other and giggling and doing and talking and having a good time. They're waving to the teachers and the principal. See you tomorrow. Okay. Then they come over to my vehicle. Get in. Shut the door. My 11-year-old take her backpack and sling it and hit me in the back of the head with it. Every day she says something like this. I'm starving to death. You don't have a piece of cheese in this car? Your driving's making me car sick. I hate her. Why'd you have her? And then my baby will be sitting up there in a daze. She'll be going, Mama, 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 Mama. What? Mama, Mama, Mama. What? I'm listening. She asked me some of the craziest things. One day she said to me, did Jesus ever have head lice? How do you answer something like that? I said, well, baby, if he did, I know he healed it. And then my girls would be whipping each other in the back seat and telling each other how bad they hate each other and they wished each other were dead. And then my sweet boy will come out. He'll get in and he'll say, you know, they're building a new Home Depot up on 281. Just as happy-go-lucky. He's just like this. He's been like that all of his life. He's 14. He's never sassed me. I know people say it's coming. I'm telling you, I don't think it will. And I'm in love with him. My husband says I have an unhealthy obsession with him. Whatever. And he's the only one of all my family that doesn't give me any crap. So yes, I am in love with him. And that doll, we want the best for him and we want the best for these children. We want them to be involved in sports. You know, keep them off of dope. I'll never forget the day that I found out about her, and I feel terrible about it now. But I was overwhelmed. I knew something wasn't right. I didn't feel good. I thought, oh my gosh, surely I'm not pregnant this quick, this soon. And you know when you got to know something, you got to know it right then. I had to know right then. I grabbed up my 2 babies and diaper bag and all that stuff you take with you everywhere you go, and I went to the Walmart in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. And I bought an EPT pregnancy test, and I took it in the stall at Walmart. And I tinkled on it. And my 3-year-old boy looked at me, he said, what, is it positive? And it was. So I drove home just as fast as I could, and I called my husband at work. And I said, you're trying to kill me, aren't you? With a slow vaginal death. Is that what you're trying to? Well, you're not going to. You better get home right now, because I'm going to walk out in the woods and let the animals eat me. But let me explain to y'all why I was so torn up. I had a 13-month-old baby girl in diapers and a 3-year-old little boy in Superman panties with doo-doo balls falling out. At the grocery store. I thought, oh my Lord. Did anybody see that? I don't have anything in my purse to pick it up with. Is some little child gonna think it's a milk dud? Let's just keep on moving, everybody. Just keep on moving. But God knew better than I did, because she's been a doll baby, but she's ruined. And I know I'm the one who did it. I was tired and beat down. So, anybody here who has more than two, you know, good night by that third and fourth one. You got to let them do what they got to do, you know. She still cries over anything. She cries because she knows she gets her way. I said, what's she crying about? She wants your toy. Well, just give it to her. I can't deal with it. And my boy was 9 years old, and we joined Pop Warner football. And y'all take football just as serious as we do in Tennessee. And that little Pop Warner team scared me to death. They meant it, and it was serious, and it was 130 degrees. And the man who was the coach, head coach, his boy was a quarterback, 9 years old, and he was talented. You could tell this child had it. And they worked that little thing like a mule. And I bet that boy is somewhere smoking dope somewhere. And my boy was over there, you know, talking about the Alamo, and could have cared less. And my husband played football, and he was like, get out there, and everybody was vomiting because it was hot and all that. And then the team mom drank wild turkey out of the back of her truck. Everywhere I go, I ask, do you think it's easier to raise girls or boys? And people say boys. And we love our girls. We love our girls. I'll give you all an example. I'll be in the pickup line since she's been in kindergarten, and now she's in 8th grade. Every day I get to go thank the Lord and pick them up from school. And I'm sitting in my minivan. All right, I'm watching them come out. And they are in a good mood. I saw it. And they're goosing each other and see you tomorrow. Okay. Then they come over my minivan. Get in. Shut the door. My 8th grader take her backpack, sling it, and hit me in the back of the head with it. Every day she says something like this. I'm starving to death. You don't have a piece of cheese in this car? Your driving's making me car sick. I hate her. Why'd you have her? And then my baby will be sitting up in the back and she'll be going, Mama, 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 Mama. What? Mama, Mama. What? I'm listening. What is it? One time she said to me, she can say some of the craziest things, that baby can. She said, did Jesus ever have head lice? I said, well, Lord, I don't know, honey, but if he did, I know he healed it. And then they'll be whipping each other in the back seat and squalling and fighting, and I hate you and I wished you were dead. And then my sweet boy would come out and say something like, you know, they're building a new Home Depot up on 281. Just as happy-go-lucky. Summer's almost over, and I don't know where it went. Do y'all feel that way? It just seems like it just left. Okay, and every summer I dread, I think, oh gosh, I've got to go buy a bathing suit. And now it's over, and I barely even wore one. What I've been wearing is my swim dress. Because my life is over. I did a show for a bunch of women, and one of the women came up and she said, you know, you ought to go to Sears and get you a swim dress in the Land's End department. And I thought, should this hurt my feelings? So I did. I went to the Sears in Knoxville, Tennessee. They've still got our Sears open. I don't know if y'all's is open or not in Chattanooga. Okay, ours, you go in, there's not a soul in there. The lights are on. Nobody's shopping. Nobody's working. I mean, I felt creeped out, and I thought, are they running dope out of Sears? So I bought me a Land's End swim dress, and I gotta tell y'all, I'm beautiful in it. Okay. It gathers in right here where my hernia mesh is. And it shows my arms that I still have, because they're my daddy's, Jimmy Fletcher. I've still got his arms. Okay, I've still got my collarbones, praise God. And then it covers up the white flour and the sugar. So I just get a spray tan and I'm good. Well, for years, I was in torment wearing a miracle suit. I don't know if any of y'all have bought a miracle suit before. I know they've got them at y'all's Belk. I know they got them. And there's going to be a big gob of them hanging together, because they have hundreds of them. And I wore one year. I felt so desperate after I couldn't wear a bikini anymore. I wore a lavender one in Hawaii, and my husband and I went, and they took this scuba video of us scuba diving, and I popped that video in from Maui, and I thought, oh, I can't wait, and this like big lavender thing goes by, and I'm like, what is that? I destroyed that video. It's awful. But anyway, so I get this miracle suit. They're at y'all's Belk, and it's got a big sign that says lose 10 pounds in 10 minutes. Miracle suit. You do, because you sweat yourself to death trying to get it on. Because it's got a girdle in it. The girdle's right through here, because it's one piece. So the girdle's right through here. It smooths you out real pretty through here, because it squeezes your fat out in every other hole. And don't get it wet, because somebody will have to cut it off of you. But I would get it every year because I felt desperate and I didn't know what else to do. Well, my girlfriend, the one with the poop, banked up poop, okay, she wanted one, and her 14-year-old daughter drove to Knoxville to the Dillards and got in the dressing room, and the 14-year-old was in there sacking her mama up in this bathing suit. They both broke out in the sweat over their lip, and the 14-year-old said, ew. Mom. Gross. Let's put it back and get out of here. She said, I can't. I've got to buy it. I just peed in it. And I tell you, for you little mamas out there, you young mamas that are going through, got a bunch of little children vomiting in the carpet, peeing in the closet. When you're trying to pee and they like slide ham under the door and say, can you open this, Mom? I know what y'all want for Mother's Day. Y'all want an Ambien and a hotel room. I hope y'all get it. I hope y'all get it. When you get to be my age, and I'm 51 years old, honey, you beg your little children to come home and be up your butthole. I beg them and try to hold money over their head. All right, but they're all home. I'm so thankful, so grateful. Okay, y'all, we got a big night ahead of us. Y'all are precious. I want to talk to y'all about, because I am 51 and going through hormonal changes. Okay, I am with their daddy, and these children all walked off and left me with him. And he's so not fun. And he can't help it. He's that way because he has to make a living for all of us. And he's got a lot on us, and all the money's going out the window. And, because we got 2 in college, we just had 1 get married. But he and I are having to adjust being together for the first time in how many years, before we got married. And so he sends me emoji, kissy faces. And stuff like that. But I am low on progesterone and testosterone. He's low on testosterone. Praise God. Okay, y'all. My middle one that lives here in Chattanooga has always had a lot of suitors coming around and wanting to date her, and she had this one, and he was I wouldn't say an Eddie Haskell, but he was a schmoozer. Like he knew he was a player. Okay, their daddy's not a player. Okay, my husband, he doesn't chat. Like he vacuumed out my car when he was dating me, and he bought my cigarettes, so that's how we started. But anyway, it was the 80s. But anyway, the young people call it playa, some fast-talking boy. She had this fast-talking boy coming around, and he would say to me things like, "Miss Morgan, you look beautiful today." And I was like, "Can I make you a casserole?" Thank goodness they broke up, because I was exhausted. I was mopping the floor and blowing my hair out every day. And I don't do that. Let me tell you why I got played. I thought, why am I so tickled when somebody compliments me? It's because my love language is words of affirmation. Have y'all ever heard of that book, 5 Love Languages? It is wonderful, and it works. It's the real deal. My husband and I went on a Sunday school class retreat when our children were little, and we watched this little frail man talk about it. Okay, and it was on Oprah, so it's real. But anyway, what it is there's 5 love languages, and you get the book, you read the book. Well, you don't really. I don't read the book. But anyway, you take the test, and it tells you what your prominent love language is out of those 5, and it tells you what your partner's love language is. So then you can go home at night and feed your partner their love language, and they can feed you your love language, and then your love tank feels full. And if you don't do it, then your partner's liable to go to work, and they're at the water fountain, and some whore comes in. I wanted to tell y'all that I got asked to do the sweetest thing in my hometown. I got asked to do a charity event for East Tennessee Children's Hospital in Knoxville, Tennessee, and it was a local Dancing with the Stars for local celebrities. And I'm a big deal in Knoxville. So they asked me to do this, and I didn't want to do it because they put you in a bikini with fringe sewn on it, just like they do on ABC. You're practically naked in front of everybody you've ever known. And I had been eating white flour, and I was in a bad place, and I didn't want to do it, but I thought, isn't that selfish of me? That's sick little children. And they raised so much money for them. So I said I would do it. And they put me with this precious partner, Daniel, a big old boy. And we were going to do the cha-cha to Earth, Wind, and Fire, September. And we practiced for 6 weeks, and we begged for money during the day and danced at night. And it was so stressful. So one night we were practicing, he kind of slung me hard, and I thought, oh my gosh, something doesn't feel right. So I went to bed, and I got up the next morning, and this big thing was sticking out about right here, and I thought, oh my gosh, is that backed up poop? And because I have trouble with that. And I called my girlfriend, Emily, and I said, I think I've got backed up poop. And she said, I don't think poop goes up that far. And so she looked on her WebMD on her iPad and found a picture of a man that looked like an alien coming out of him. And she said, is that it? And I said, yes. And she said, you got a hernia. So like 4 days before the event, I had a hernia that had to be operated on. So I went in for that operation, and my 2 teenage girls that are usually so hateful, okay, they stepped in and learned to dance in 4 days. So the night of the event, I came out in a wheelchair to Proud Mary Keep On Turning. And they did that video, that dance. If you remember when Tina Turner would do that and it looked like a car wash. Y'all remember that? And what I learned in that whole thing, what I'm trying to tell you, what I learned in that whole thing was that if something bad, really bad happened to me, God forbid, like a bad sickness, my husband and my children would let me die. After I had that hernia surgery, I laid up in the bed for 3 days and nobody checked on me. My middle one that lives here in Chattanooga has always had a lot of suitors coming around and wanting to date her. And she had this one, and he was I wouldn't say an Eddie Haskell, but he was a schmoozer. Like he knew he was a player. Okay, their daddy's not a player. Okay, my husband, he doesn't chat. Like he vacuumed out my car when he was dating me, and he bought my cigarettes, so that's how we started. But anyway, it was the 80s. But anyway, the young people call it playa, some fast-talking boy. She had this fast-talking boy coming around, and he would say to me things like, Miss Morgan, you look beautiful today. And I was like, can I make you a casserole? Thank goodness they broke up, because I was exhausted. I was mopping the floor and blowing my hair out every day. And I don't do that. Let me tell you why I got played. I thought, why am I so tickled when somebody compliments me? It's because my love language is words of affirmation. Have y'all ever heard of that book, 5 Love Languages? It is wonderful, and it works. It's the real deal. My husband and I went on a Sunday school class retreat when our children were little, and we watched this little frail man talk about it. Okay, and it was on Oprah, so it's real. But anyway, what it is there's 5 love languages, and you get the book, you read the book. Well, you don't really, I don't read the book. But anyway, you take the test, and it tells you what your prominent love language is out of those 5, and it tells you what your partner's love language is. So then you can go home at night and feed your partner their love language, and they can feed you your love language, and then your love tank feels full. And if you don't do it, then your partner's liable to go to work, and they're at the water fountain, and some whore comes in. And feeds their love language. And then they feel a tingle. And then Satan swoops in. Y'all know where I'm going with that? It's a disaster. So, there's 5 love languages. There's quality time. And that's my sister's. Quality time, but you just can sit and watch ESPN with somebody, which I don't want to, but I mean, you just sit with somebody. Okay, then there's gifts. And you can just give them a card and they feel loved. It doesn't have to be something expensive. Okay, then there's physical touch. And most women in here will go, oh my gosh, that's my husband's. Physical touch. He's on me like a duck on a June bug. But it's not that kind of nasty. I'm talking about, like there's people that just want to hug you and kiss you and squeeze you and they got to hold your hand. That's the physical touch you're talking about. Okay, then there's words of affirmation. That's mine. So all my husband has to say is, Leanne, you are a good mama. Leanne, that Trisha Yearwood's chicken piccata is to die for. And then my love tank feels full, and then I'm willing to do something vulgar with him. And then he gives me money to get my hair highlighted. So you see how it all works out. So his love language, the fifth one, is acts of service. So I have to go and build a set of shelves in the garage for him to feel love. My husband is a big old man, 6'4". Very Superman-like, broad shoulders, narrow hips. He weighs about 230, 250 if we're all on gluten. I am 5'8", I'm a big girl, and we breed big kids. So we had all these beautiful tall children, and my girls ended up playing volleyball and travel volleyball all over the United States, but they grew to be 5'8" and 5'9". We thought they were going to be taller. They wanted to be 6 feet so badly, and I finally said, do you really want to go into the transgender store and get your shoes? But anyway, so my baby child grew really quick, really fast, and I think it's all that chicken I fed her. Now we don't eat any hormones and anything, but back then we didn't know. So anyway, she grew really quick, really fast, and in elementary she was about 5'5", 5'6". And so she was taller than all the little children and the principal and all the teachers. And she hated it, was so self-conscious. But the good news is very athletic, very strong. And so all these teams around East Tennessee would call me and ask me, can she play goalkeeper for me in soccer? I'll buy her an iPhone. I'm not kidding. Could she play basketball for me? Because you just didn't see girls that tall and that strong and at that age. And I felt like LeBron James's mama. Is that him? LeBron James, little mama. And I lived through her. And I made her do all of that. And she hated it. She hated it. And so one day she came to us and she goes, I'm sick of all this and I'm not doing it anymore. She said, I want a chair. I said, well, baby, we're big people, and I said, we don't tumble, but I'll try to figure this out. So I found out in the United States there's called competition chair. And we have it here in Knoxville. It's called the Sharks. Well, all over the United States, they've got this thing called competition cheer. And it's kind of like, if you don't know what that is, it's kind of like Honey Boo Boo meets the Olympics. Really. It's gymnast. They're gymnasts. And there's one in Knoxville called the Sharks. And they said, drop your baby off and she can try out to audition, whatever you want to call it. So I dropped her off, and they ended up putting her on a bad Mama Jamma team because all the little children her age came up to hear on her. And somebody's got to throw them up in the air. So they were thrilled with her, and they treated us like royalty. But anyway, They said, you're going to come in here twice a week, learn a 2-minute routine. It's going to cost you $150 a month. It's like, okay. They said, there's a uniform that you're going to order, and it comes to here. It's going to expose her stomach. She's going to have a tiny skirt on with a slit in it with a glitter panty underneath it. It's $300. I said, that's a whore outfit. And it came with its own bag of whore makeup. So that all the little children could look alike. And they said, y'all are going to travel to faraway lands and compete against other little whore children. So we went to like Cincinnati or Atlanta. And we had to get hotel rooms and the gas and all of that. And then you drive up to a big coliseum, a huge coliseum. And there's tens of thousands of little whore children walking around. And my husband said, there could be pedophiles here. This is the awfulest thing I've ever, something's not right. Okay, so then they said, you're going to pay $150 for your baby to be in this competition. You're going to have to pay $30 to put a band on to get in and watch your baby in this competition. Somebody was selling corn dogs for $15. Okay. They start out with the babies, so it goes from 5 to 18 ages. So the babies come out in a tiny little skirt about the size of a napkin. And they come out to Beyonce's All the Single Ladies. And their little mamas are in their 20s. And they're not bitter yet. And they're in the front doing every move to keep their baby on track because they're babies and they need to be at home breastfeeding. So they move up throughout the day into my baby's age, and they're the reef sharks. They call out that name, honey, for 2.5 minutes. My baby throws little children up in the air, flinging little children, broken out in a sweat, working like a Trojan. Did you see my Spanx? Okay. All right. One of my girls said I look like Miley Cyrus in the Wrecking Ball in my Spanx. But anyway, so she throws these little children up. The little children she's throwing up in the air are the flyers. They call them the flyers. And they're freakishly tiny little children. I don't know where these people come from. Their mamas are freakishly tiny. I mean, I come from big people. I've got thick ankles. I can work in the fields. And the whole time she's throwing them in there, these little girls are going. Why? Really? So at the end of the routine, after the 2.5 minutes, the finale, everybody hunkers down on the stage, puts their forehead on the stage, and my baby is the finale. She pops up and has a little child's foot in her